Hey team, Coach Lily here with more tips for your 2,000 meter benchmark row. What is the 2,000 meter benchmark row? It is a challenge tracker day. It's one of our benchmarks so we can track our progress over time. And in this one specifically, we're rowing 2,000 meters and we're recording the time that it takes us to get to that 2,000 meters. First and foremost, we want to set our goal. Average time is around 6 to 10 minutes. So if you've never done it before, you can aim for somewhere in there. If you have done it before, you can check back in your challenge tracker to figure out what your last time was. Once you have your goal, then we can set our split time. Your 500 meter split time is the time it's going to take you to row 500 meters with your current effort. That's your leg drive, your speed, so on and so forth. 500 meters, that's a quarter of 2,000. So in order to find your goal split time, you're going to take your final goal time and divide it by 4. Once you know what your goal split time is, then that's how we're going to be able to tackle this row. And you also want to know what your stroke rate can be that you can maintain that sustainable pace. Remember, one pace wins the race. Tip number 2. Focus on form. We don't want to waste any extra energy sending energy to our arms that we don't necessarily need to, or even stealing energy away from our legs. We want to hold everything in place, but be able to send all of our extra energy to our legs. Tip number 3. We want to set a sustainable pace that we can maintain for the meatiest portion of this row. This should feel like a moderate push for most of it. We should feel like we're able to sustain that effort for the majority of this row. Tip number 4. Let's keep those energy shifts really subtle. So especially in that meatiest portion of the block, we want to make sure that if we're shifting that energy or that focus from strength to power strokes, that we keep those energy shifts really subtle. Or if we're checking in at a checkpoint, we want to make sure that we're also keeping those adjustments subtle. That's going to tax the body less. Think about a car going from 0 to 60 is going to tax that engine a little bit more aggressively than going from say 40 to 45 miles an hour. Keep your energy shifts subtle. Tip number 5, we're going to break it up. First 10 strokes, we want to be confident and slightly aggressive. It should feel like a high push effort. We're going to look for that stroke rate to be around 30 to 35, so a little bit elevated to what our meaty portion will be. And our split time, we want to be underneath whatever our goal split time is. So again, if your goal split time is 2 minutes, then we want to be under that as much as possible. After those first 10 strokes, this is going to be settling into our maintenance mode. We're going to drop that stroke rate down around 24 to 30. Again, you might be a little bit higher, a little bit lower based on what's comfortable for you, but it's a pace that you can maintain for the majority of this row. Your split time, we're going to be hovering right around whatever our goal split time is. So again, if you're looking at your goal split time to be around 2 minutes, then we're going to hover right around that 2-minute mark. The next 500 meters, hang on to that moderate push effort, and we're going to focus on form and breathing. That split time should hover around that goal time, and your stroke rate should maintain. At the 1,000 meter mark, team, let's check in with ourselves. That is our halfway point. Can you maintain the pace that you've been doing so far? Do we need to scale it back a little bit? We should feel like we're working, but we shouldn't feel like we're already starting to get gassed. If you need to make a change to your effort, try and keep it as subtle as possible. Subtle changes will help the body adjust. It will take a little bit longer than, for instance, going from an all-out to a recovery. But if you're going from a high push to a low push, that's going to be better on your body. It's going to take a little bit longer for that heart rate to feel like it's recovering, but it will keep us moving and keep us getting towards that goal a little bit more effectively. If we make any adjustments, this next 500 meters, we're going to settle in again. If we're doing good, we're on a good foot, then we're just going to focus on that form and your breathing. Form is necessary so that we're not wasting any extra energy. Breathing is necessary because we have to bring that oxygenated blood to our muscles in order for them to move. This is where some of us might need to start using some of our different techniques in order to get through that meaty portion. So is this time for a power 10, strength 10? You're going to do 10 power strokes followed by 10 strength strokes. Your power strokes, remember, are focused on speed with less leg drive. Your strength strokes are focused on leg drive, less speed. So can you do 10 faster strokes? Again, still subtle changes, but 10 that focus on speed and then 10 that focus on leg drive. If you're really feeling gassed, you can add that 10 base row in there as well, but we want to try and maintain as much effort as possible. If you are doing that power 10, strength 10, keep it subtle, but do use it to your advantage if you're starting to feel that extra fatigue. Once you get to that 1,500 meter mark, team, let's check in with ourselves again. Are you feeling fatigued or are you feeling good? If you're feeling fatigued, maintenance mode is the way to go. Maintain the stroke rate, maintain the split time. If you're feeling good, let's increase that speed a little bit more, see if we can drop that split time down just a little bit. That last 200 meters, team, that's where we get to empty out the tank. Now, if you're already feeling fatigued, maybe this is more like the last 100 to 150, but if you're feeling good, keep it in that last 200. We're gonna increase the stroke rate, 30 or more on that top left-hand side of the monitor, and we're gonna try and drop that split time down as much as possible by not only increasing the speed, but then eventually increasing the leg drive as well. Very last thing, team, make sure you row all the way through that last meter. We don't want to coast into 2000. We are racing all the way to that very last finish line.